Alrighty, welcome back. We're at it again. We've primed the chassis for the second time. Me and Jolene sanded all the filler that we put on it for the pinholes. We got it smoothed off. Like I said, we primed it again. Now it's time to move it out, and I'm going to need Jolene's help to do this. Jolene's my helper, and I need her. I want to bring the chassis out. Is what I want to do. Is I want to take the rear end in and get that up on jack stands, get it ready to throw some primer on it. And we'll talk about that as we get going along. But right now, I need Jolene. Come help me, please.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got this primed. I'm going to get Jolene to get that red cart there, please and thank you. I don't think you want to. You might want to, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it. We'll go this way. I'm going to get her on the front end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up. It's on the jack stands in the back. And what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to pull the jack stands out. I'm not going to use that for a second. I'm just going to lift this up. We'll pull the jack stand over that side, pull the jack stand over that side. I'm just going to let this down on the ground, and then when I go back there, then I'll get you to put the front end underneath.
Okay.
Alrighty. Let's see. All right, just going to let that down. Gently. How low can you go? Well, you just saw. You're going to grab that end, please, and just put your trolley cart underneath of it. Try not to bang your primer up too much. Get in the middle of them, in them two hats there the best you can. Thank you. It's your car. Don't scratch it.
No.
I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to lift this up. I want you to pull these jack stands out so we can go out between them. So I'm going to lift this up. You want to come down this end?
Yep.
Just going to get you to pull the jack stand. You don't have to let it down. Just pull it over that way and pull that jack stand over that way. You might want it over there further.
Okay.
All right, you can on your end. This is the sort of stuff that has to happen all the time, you know. It's not always just go forward. There's a lot of moving around and jigging and frigging. A lot of jigging and frigging. I just don't want to hit the side of the chassis on that paint room. A second now. You going to hit there, are we?
I don't think. Whoa.
I'm going to hit Elvis, we are. Now. Ah! Right. I'm going to have to go up, I guess. Just go easy. Can you, just a minute now, can you get around that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. You want to see how tough I was, huh? See how strong I was. Lift that up in the air. Okay, we're just going to put this down on the ground. So what is going on right now? You can let that down. Awesome. So what's going on right now? We've got the chassis completed. And Jolene's going to pick the camera back up again. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Huh? Thank you, sweetheart. You did an excellent job. Excellent. We'll just go over the chassis a little bit before we get started. Now, as you look at the chassis, I've got a couple little places where I've touched it up. I went back in. I think there was probably 5 or 6 pinholes. You can see I touched a couple places because there was a couple pinholes still left. But other than that, that chassis can be sanded down now, and it will be as smooth as that car. So now that we've done what we've done, the whole thing can be sanded down. It could be pinstriped. There could be a mural put on it. There could be shiny paint put on it, and that's how you do it. You know, or not everybody knows, but when you paint a chassis, they're not as nice looking as you think they should be or you want them to be, because the time and the filler has not been applied to make it look the way it could. And basically what I have done here is I've made a chassis that can be shiny as your car, or you can go a little further with it. You could mural it, you could pinstripe it, you can do anything. Anything with a coarse texture to it is not going to give you the sheen or the shine that you want. And as the chassis is sitting there, now we really have got something that can be shined up, really done nicely, and very proud of it. Also, when someone looks underneath the car or looks at the car and they says, wow, look at that, the chassis is some good shape. Well, it was okay, but we put in the work to make it really good shape. We put in the work. And that's what it takes, is put in the work. So basically what I want to do now is I got to roll the rear end in. That's what I'm going to do, roll the rear end in, get it up on a couple jack stands. I don't know if I'm going to prime in this video just because I've done some priming before. Went and bought myself a new mask. Went and bought myself a new mask. It's time. Jolene was wearing the other mask while she was filming. You can come over, I'll show you this before I start. I even got the motor mounts. Like, the motor mounts looked good on the outside. I had them all buffed off nice. I had a little weld mark across there. I did not want to grind that weld mark all off and pretend that it's okay, because sometimes, you know, you still want strength in that. So I put a little filler on it. I'll smooth it off with a DA, then I'll take it in there and I'll put some good primer on it, and we'll sand it off and make it look like something. Also, we've got one here. This is the control arm that I've welded up just like the other one. That one's welded up. You can see I started grinding it, which I will grind it all. And this is the one I've ground, and I've got filler on it, and I'll sand that filler off and make that smooth, so when it comes to prime it, you're not going to know or tell that it's been welded up and done that to it. And basically that's what has to happen. We need new ball joints for top and bottom before I start going any further on these things. So I can sand them off and get them ready, yes I can, but in all honesty I would like to have new ball joints. Maybe after we prime them, get them ready, get them painted, then we can put new ball joints in them. But basically right now you're going to watch me wrestle this rear end in. I'm not going to wrestle it in. I'm going to take the rear end in. Jolene might have to put the camera down again. I want to get it in there and get the wheels off it. Maybe beat the drums off it and take a few things off it. But other than that, we're going to go for it. I can see that there's a place right here. I wasn't paying attention. There's a couple of bowl holes where when it turned upside down, it was leaking oil. There was a little tiny, not tiny, just a bracket there that held brake lines. And I can see a bolt down in there. I see where it's leaking. There's a bolt down in there. There's two. This bolt had 2 bolts in it. And I covered it up. Now I got to wind that hole out a little bit to get that and close that off. But that's just a thing that happens. See if I can get this bad boy in there. Yeah. And we've got the transmission. This is the transmission mount, believe it or not. This is the transmission mount there, but this is the cross member. We've got it welded up. I'm not going to fill that out. The welds look nice enough on that. We can put a little seam sealer over top of that and be fine with it. Very happy with that. We'll flip it over, put some more primer on it. I'm going to get these jack stands here. And this is a process that has to be done with every piece, you know. Every piece has to be primed, has to have something on it. This is where epoxy would come in. If I wanted to come in and just epoxy the rear end and then paint it, yes, we could do that. But where we are making the frame so nice, and we're going to flip it over and do the other side. That's why it's out there. We have to flip the frame over and do the other side. Where the rear end is like this, we're going to put a little primer on it. Then we're going to scuff it off with some sandpaper just to give it that little bit of extra nice shine. Basically, it'll give it a shine instead of, it'll leave no texture. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pick this bad boy up and put it on there. And then we'll get the wheels off it after. It's upside down right at the present moment. That doesn't matter. Sort of stuff I got to go through sometimes. Hit my mic, I did. That's okay, isn't it, sweetheart? It's okay, she said. She'll forgive me. Now, if I pick this side up, will you kick this in? Well, actually, I got it. Slide it down. There we go. Alrighty, there we go. You can see oil dripping out of that now. You can easily get hurt doing this stuff, so you really want to pay attention. I'm just going to go over there and grab that. Yeah, so epoxy would be to come in and epoxy it, and then you could paint it without sanding it. That's what epoxy's for. No other reason. No other reason. Hey, take a finger off just like that, if you wanted to. Alrighty, I'm gonna bring that out a little bit on this. So, like Jolene said, she would like to have the rear end filled out. Don't know if we're gonna go there or not, but what I am gonna do for her, and to make it a little bit better, is to put some primer on it so it can look as nice as it can look. You can see it leaking out there. That's where the other hole is for the bracket for the brake line. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to take the wheels off. Also, the frame that we have sitting out here now, that chassis has to be flipped upside down and done the exact same thing on the bottom as it done on the top, because we have not done the bottom yet, and that's the most important part, because that's what we're going to see is the bottom. Also, we have put enough material. I'm hoping we put enough material. We sanded it off, and then we primed it again. I'm hoping that we put enough material on it that when we go to sand it, that it's going to be good. No? Fantastic. There we go. I was saying to Jolene, we're so lucky that we did a build here. We did the dump truck. And the dump truck, when it came, we bought it from a friend of ours, John. When the dump truck came, it had brand new 17-inch tires on it, the Excelsior tire, and we were so lucky that they came with that, because now we get to put them on Jolene's car. It didn't cost us anything because that was in the build of the other car. That's good. No, that's great. These are the wheels. I got a little bit of slack over it, but you know what? What people think is none of my business again. Like I always explain, it's none of my business. These wheels did not fit the center of the drum. What I did is I took a plasma cutter and cut the center of that out a little bit so it fit that drum. Yeah, got a little bit of slack saying, well, you'll never be able to balance or never get it on there right. Well, the 5 bolts and the nuts are what centers the wheel. You would never count on that center piece there to center the wheel. That's why these are beveled in. That's why those are beveled in, to straighten, to make sure the wheel goes on right. So basically, in my opinion, I never hurt them a bit, but I'm going to be able to use them and get the job done that we need. So I just kind of, used my brain a little bit, went around with the plasma cutter. I cut it round because I followed what we had on the wheel, and the 5 bolts will center the wheel now. Done it before. That's how I know. That's how I know. Jolene looks amazing today. Suppose I didn't have to tell you, seen her in the video. So yeah, I cut the center of the wheel. I've also cut in the center of the whole wheel out before, because I wanted a different offset and I wanted a different bolt hole pattern. And I've undrilled these pieces here, the whole center of a wheel, and plugged it into another wheel before. I've done that. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. So there's our 17-inch wheels. I'm not sure if I can get the drums off right now at the present moment or not. We're going to take a hammer and take a beating to them, see what happens. Try to knock them off. We don't need them on there for the primer. I'd like to see what shape they're in. If I don't break them getting them off. After I get everything primed for Jolene's car, like the front end pieces, the rear end, all that sort of stuff, everything that needs to be painted and get it painted, get it put back together, I can get back on Elvis. be pounded off. I think that was a dinner bell, wouldn't you? We'll check that out. We'll just check them out. We won't throw them out. We'll see what happens. They don't look too bad, actually. They could be reused. I'd like to take all this off. And the reason being is because, see, we got brake fluid running there. We probably ruined the wheel cylinders because of the sandblast sand. Not sure. Who knows? Brake pads don't look bad. I mean, they're not worn out. That's for sure. Far from being worn out. They could be cleaned and put back on. Got them off. I'll probably end up stripping those. Taking everything off. Comes some kind of sensor going on there. And the reason probably take them all off so I can get some primer all on everything. And when more you tear things apart, the better you can get it to look. Like all new, the rubber's being taken out. You know, when we get it painted and then we put the rubber back in, then it shows nice contrast in between the shiny paint and the rubber. You know, I'm not just painting over the rubber itself and going with it. Well, you know, when it's all painted shiny, then you put the rubbers back in all cleaned up, put a little thinner on them, clean them up really nice. Then it'll look like detail. That's called detail. I could paint it with it in there in the back and just not take them out, but I think that's premature. Premature. Cut my wire caught. Did I pull that bad boy out? Didn't pull it out, did I, sweetheart? Huh? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Everything's okay. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got one more to get. Hey. There's that one there. I should pull them brakes apart. Yes, I should. I'm just going to put some of this stuff and lay it where? Like I always do, put it in my pocket and then it ends up in the house. Done it, Betty? Huh? Ends up in the house. Just going to try to pull some of them brakes off. Dun, 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 dun. You gotta watch these things, are quite something else sometimes. Come on up. Yeah. Spring off. Take a pair of vice grips and get them off. Well, actually, I'll do the other side, the other spring off. We'll probably get all new spring kit for this. There'll be no doubt in my mind. Pair of vice grips, pair of needle nose. Just stripping it down, getting it ready to throw some paint on it. And when we strip it all down, it'll just be nice to know that everything is new or been checked over or whatever. You know, if you don't tear it apart, you can't say that you've, gone over it. She has some glasses on. Come on now. Come on. I got some glasses right here. So this is basically what's going on today. It's Christmas tomorrow. Crazy, eh? It's Christmas tomorrow. Still can't see. Come on now. Where's that thing on the backside? You can turn it. Maybe I'm going too far. Not having so good luck. Come on now. I can't even see it. Do like I always do. Might get into cutting here in a second. Come on. There we go. Just had to hold my tongue right. This is not my favorite stuff to do, but it's still stuff that has to be done. That's seized right on there. That is so, seized right on there. Go and get another pair of vice grips. Basically, this is the sort of stuff, you know, when you're building cars, if something isn't going right and you can't manage, you have to really go to your brain and ask, what's the tool that you can use to make it, to get it, you know? What's the tool you have to go to get it? My brain is telling me to put a pair of vice grips on the back of that so it'll turn, so I can get it to turn, because it's seized right on there. Now, yeah, there we go. Bad boy, what you gonna do? There's a little spring there I gotta get off. We'll deal with this stuff after. Here we go. And I can leave that together like that. So when it comes time, you know what? When it comes time, it's been able to be put back together. We got a emergency brake thing there going on. We got a sensor there going on we want to take off. Just stripping it down a little bit further. Yeah. I'll bet you that's metric. And I'm not much of a metric guy. But I can know how to use a pair of vice grips. Wheel sensor, pull it out. Once I pull it out, I guess that's all that matters. There, that. Clean that up. Just don't want nothing on the backside. Now I'll take the wheel cylinder out, and then I can have primer around everything. Clean that off a little bit. Not sure what those are. Probably something I haven't got. 10. We'll go over here. I think the metric set's over here. I don't know if it's a metric set or not, but see what happens. And what will happen is we'll put some primer on this. What size is that? That's a 10. And that 10's not even close. So we're going to go with 12. With an extension would be nice. go 11 then. I gotta use the washroom, sweetheart. This is real as it gets. I gotta use the washroom. It's cold out too. So you're gonna have to keep them entertained maybe. Just walk around the frame. I have no idea. But I gotta use the washroom. Sorry about that, people. I gotta use the washroom. Real as it gets. It's cold out today. Woo! Gotta watch it on a windy day. You gotta piss in the right direction. I think I said that to Jolene one time before, where she said, how do you spell relief? And I said P-I-S-S. And that right there is P-I-S-S. And it's too cold to be shaking a whole bunch. Let's get at her. Oh. It's cold out there, baby. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
I explained to him what the word, how to spell relief, and it's P-I-S-S. How did you explain it to me? What was the word? M-O-N-E-Y?
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Me and Jolene are going to have a very good Christmas, and I'll tell you why. Because we're just going to pay attention to each other. And that's the bad boy right there. I need an extension. And maybe have a few little toddies, you know, and take it easy and just appreciate how lucky we are. Got 11 right on it. And we're lucky. We're able to do the things that we want to do. And basically what we do is we just keep busy. It's nice to keep busy.
We might plan to do the packages tomorrow.
Do the packages tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be our Christmas actually. The people that send packages to us, we'll open them up and say thank you very much and all that sort of stuff, you know. Really appreciate it, you know. People give, you know, it's quite a bit of thought, really, to send something and to give to us. And we're thankful and appreciative. Hope we'll do some new wheel cylinders. I don't know if we need, you know, something. We probably, it don't need brake shoes. I don't think it does. I think it would pass, but it'd be nice to have all new clean brakes on it. It's Jolene's car, you know. We'll do a nice job as we can. Dun, 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 dun. Where's that hammer at? Did I take that hammer somewhere, did I? I probably did. I like to hammer that off. Nope, that'll fall off. I was just going to beat it. I guess I don't need to. I'm going to have to get that. Take that off, though, probably. I'll beat it here in a second. Okay, I guess having the brake line on. What I'm gonna do is get a zip cut. We're gonna have to save that stuff too, because sometimes when you get all your parts and all your stuff, it does not have everything like that. You know, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't have everything. The old paint room gets used for almost everything. Gets used for, I'm not going to do that. It gets used for cleaning engines. It gets used for putting cars in, tearing them apart. It gets used for everything. And sometimes it's not the best thing to do. But let's face it, you have to do what you got to do sometimes. The shop is only so big. I know one thing, when you get a couple cars torn apart, it sure does take a mess of room to get couple cars. We got a couple cars torn apart, as you can see, and there's a lot of stuff hanging around. A lot of stuff hanging around. So it'd be nice when I get Jolene's chassis done, get the engine back in it, that messes all together. Like I got this stuff there, that stuff over there, the chassis laying in the rear. Woo! A lot of stuff laying around. Come on out, man. It's Christmas, come on out. All right, that one's torn apart. We're gonna go to the other side. And the reason being, like I can't really give everything a primer if I leave that stuff in there. In here where it's dirty and dark and dingy, that stuff can be beat off with a hammer or a needle gun or something like that. Have not got a needle gun, but I'm gonna get one. that off now because I know when I take it off that I'm going to need to get it off. That's what I'm going to do. I got to get them off again. We may as well do it in the same manner as we did the first one because we know how we did it. I've got transmissions and engines. I don't know how many people have transmissions and engines in their paint room, but I do. And it's just because of space and that sort of stuff. What happens with these little cups? They got to be turned, and it's got to have the right. Yeah, put that on there again. Let's do it. Seem to be seized on there. You can see that. Well, I think everybody knows, but basically, you know. If you've never done it, you don't know. With a little bit of investigation, though, it's not hard. That has a needle on it. That has a knob long thing that has a needle on it. So that goes on like this. Then one has to be pushed in and turned so it can't come off like that. Basically it. Basically it. I might as well show you. You probably all know anyways, but I'll show you. Let's just hold the needle from turning. Basically, that's all it's doing. Get it off. Don't want to push it off and stand, but you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to turn that so it'll come off. Come on, baby. Get a little tighter on there. What was that?
I don't know.
Weird. There's a mouse in the house. Yeah, there's sucker there. That's what I'm going to do with that sucker. Yeah. Now, let's put that there, put that there. That goes with that. Brakes are all still together, sort of tells you what's going on. You know, like the wheel tensioner and all, or the brake tensioner all have to be kept because you won't get those in your kit generally. So you should keep everything that you have, and I will. This is the thing I'm going to pull out and pull on the other side. I'll have to take them off. I'm not going to use those, no doubt in my mind. And I looked at the bottom of the pumpkin. The bottom of the pumpkin's really nice. It's just the top of the pumpkin. So I'm thinking that we're okay. I've kind of talked to Jolie. Maybe we don't need to fill that out. Maybe no. We're not going to pinstripe that or put a mural under or anything, are we? So that's what I'm thinking, that we'll be okay there. Now I'm going to put them bolts back in there. See, I don't even know if you get the bolts put back in the wheel cylinders or not. I have no idea. The wheel cylinders don't even look bad. They don't look wet, so they're leaking. But then again, there. Go that one. Throw the wheel nuts back on it because we'll need to put the wheels back on. Easier to find that way. What did I do with these ones? Did I put them back in there? Nope. Put them back in there. So I'm saying that with take the chip and hammer, just knock a little bit of that dust off. It's not going to hurt anything because we're going to put the primer on the outside here. Where the rear end grease is coming out, we will wash that off with spray 9. That's what we're going to use. I use spray 9 for wax and grease remover. Like if you were using a wax and grease remover, you buy that. It costs quite a bit of money. It does, to have that around and to use it and to dump it in a cloth and go on the ground. It costs quite a bit of money. So what I generally do is I use spray 9 for wax and grease remover, and I use Windex for pre-wash. And those are the two things that you generally buy to do any painting. You usually, wax and grease remove your car. Before, if any car comes in, you usually wax and grease remove it, take everything off. Well, I use spray 9. When it comes to wash the car down before you paint, for pre-wash, I use Windex. And they both are less money, and it seems more practical for me to use less money to make something work than it does to spend more money. That's who I am. That's probably for the brakes. I'm going to take that off. I try to be as practical as I can when it comes to that sort of stuff, because when it comes time to do a car, it generally costs a lot of money to do a car, period. And when you can save anywheres, I try to save. And I guess that's where I'm at. So I just kind of use what I have, like in store, and it's basically from trial and error, I guess. I did not have the wax and grease remover. I did not want to pay the money for the wax and grease remover at the time, no doubt in my mind. And I just went to something else. Like I knew that spray 9 worked, so why would it not work? I'm just going to take this out. I don't want that tag on there. Don't want this tag on there. I'm thinking that we're 350 gears because it says 350 right there, and I don't have any idea why other than what say 350 than other than have 350 gears. This is a Dana rear end. There's a little chart that you can look up, and the chart will tell you all the different covers, and that's what this is. I got the smaller Dana. I like the smaller one with the smaller housing. For some reason, I just like them ones. I went to a junkyard and he had one there with the bigger housing, and for some reason, not for some reason, I just didn't want the bigger housing. I think I'm gonna leave that out for a second so I can clean that. But this one we could have used the bigger housing. Yes, we could have. I don't think it saves that much weight or anything. It's no big deal. Take that off. We'll put them back in, so I'm just gonna leave that right there for a second, but I want to clean that off. This rear end still has grease in it, or oil in it, and it's not good smelling stuff. I'm going to get the drill and just clean that off right back. Here, I'll get the drill right here, and it's got a little wheel in it. We'll go with it. So basically, we're going to prime every piece of the car. And if you want to build a number one car, basically you have to do everything that I'm doing, but make sure everything is looking A1. Like it's basically, if you can see a scratch or a pick, so will the paint. Or the paint will modify it. We'll make it bigger. We'll make it more noticeable. So anything like that you don't want to see, if you think you want to build a number one car and go over every piece and make it absolutely gorgeous, that would have to be filled out. You'd want to make sure all this is filled out to make sure your backing plates would all want to be, hate to say it, but filled out and cleaned. Not using that, it's kind of soft for that. I'm going to use this right here. I like these little wheels here. They do a great job. They seem to be running up in price. They must notice I use them a lot. They must. They must. This will peel that up quite nicely. So now, as you know, as people watch me and Jolene go through this process of building a car, you can imagine why people do not want you to touch their car when it's all painted and all done. It's the amount of work that they put into it, you know. And it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if you can buy it or pay to have it fixed or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's called respect. The amount of work that someone has put into something, and then someone come up to it and touch it and grab it and do whatever they think they need to do to it. I don't know if that was going to go in far enough because of that tag. Weird. Take that back out. Kind of wondering if one was longer than the other. Nope. I was kind of wondering if... Didn't want to go in all the way. That one does. Might be something shoved in to hold this one out. Probably a 13 or not a 12. I don't like that. Not going in all the way. Not going to force it, twist it off. Not a chance. I'm going to put a washer on it. I'd like to I'll just put a flat washer on it, and that way there. Whoop, whoop. Put a flat washer on it. That way there's not much into lock washers. Good. It felt funny in the end. You twist that off, so I'm easy. Alrighty, let's do this one again. Just make sure it's there. Yep. Now, just going to hit these spots here. Now, I think I can get that in there without whatever. But I'm going to get some spray 9 and wash that grease off. That's what I have to do. Because I can't prime it with that on there. The primer won't stick. Spray 9 is what I use for wax and grease remover. So if you want to buy wax and grease remover, you're more than welcome. But if you do not want to buy wax and grease remover, this can be used. Can so. That's what it's for. That's what I use it for. And it's in a spray bottle. It's contained, so it really helps out. You know, it's contained. It's nice. You must admit, the old wax and grease remover has a big jug, and then you dump it into a cloth, and then you spill it, and then you say the words that I say. And I don't want to say it because I don't like that guy. Swear too much. I'm trying to calm it down a little bit, you know. As you know, as I go, you learn. You know, you're only bright. You only know what you're shown and taught. Basically. Yeah, I'm gonna slide that up and through there. Just pull that through if I can. All right. Just try to clean it off the best you can. That's all you can do. So there's a new one for you, right there. Every car should be wiped down with wax and grease remover before you start. If you're painting cars, you know, obviously if you're painting cars, you got to clean them off. That's what I always did anyways, clean them off. It causes fish eyes and stuff. Fish eyes are places where paint doesn't stick. Or silicone or anything like that. Same deal. Same deal. And this can this can be right in the cupboards of the house, you know. Generally it's in every household. Spray 9. We should read the label and see what it does get rid of. It's quite crazy what it does get rid of, or what it says it gets rid of. Spray 9 kills H1N1, swine flu, influenza, A2 virus, common flu, A2 virus, avian virus, salmonella, or whatever that word's called, hepatitis C, Norwalk virus, herpes simplex. It's all right on there. If you do not believe me, right there. That's what it says. Says it all. Hard to believe, I know. Hard to believe. But it says it, so I'm going with it. But it takes off wax and grease and that sort of stuff, so I'm going with it. And that's what I'm doing. There. I'm saying that we can spray this. I see a little bit of dirt back on that. Got to get that off. Had to be careful and run that pinion seal there. I didn't want to mess that up too much. No, I didn't want to mess that up. Clean her up best I can for you, baby. Clean her up the best I can for you. Huh? Make you proud of me. Make you proud. I need a little screwdriver, poke a hole in there. See some dirt in the end of that. Look at that, didn't I? I knew that was dirt in there. way there. It's not dirt when you go to start or do it. That's for the U-bolts and the U. Just to make sure. And I can take an air hose and blow on that too. Helps out. Anything that you need when you're cleaning something, you know, you have to go to your brain and ask your brain what would it take to clean what you need to do. You have to go to your brain and ask yourself. And that's what I always do. That's how I come up with Windex and Spray 9. Windex cleans a window. I've licked many windows in my life and I'm still here. It dissipates quick. That's how I come up with that, Windex. I can't see it hurting anything. And it does not. I've painted many cars, and I've painted some high dollar cars with using Windex as pre-wash and Spray 9 as wax and grease remover. I've sprayed some pretty high dollar cars, and it did not affect them. And the price still goes up because of the product you use. Just like, I mean, we've got a gallon of primer used on that chassis already. You know, we've got it on there, haven't sanded it off yet. But there's product being used, and it costs money to use that product. It most certainly does. Just going to knock some dirt off on the edge of that. Little wire wheel, just knock that off right quick. And we might spray them, sandblast them drums, and I'm just going to knock this off a little bit because when I go to prime it, I'm going to do it anyways. I want to do it after. Ouch. You heard me. Ouch. Just knock some dirt off it. We'll blow it off before we prime it. Alrighty, what I'm going to say is that's probably basically what I'm going to do. I've knocked off the top of the welds. Ground some of the welds down the edge. Like I said, after I prime it, then I'll come in here and put a little seam sealer on it. And what I'm talking about, someone said, well, if there's cracks in your weld, well, you have to look at your welds again. Well, no, I'm talking about where the ledge comes in the weld. We have where your metal comes, and then you have your weld. There's a ledge there usually, and if you take a little bit of seam sealer, it takes that ledge away and makes it look nicer. Maybe that guy just didn't want to use his brain. Probably. And there's a lot of that don't want to use it. But I like to use mine full time. I like to. I enjoy the process of thinking about trying to use things that work, or that can work. That's the fun of it. Now, basically what I'm saying is I'll come in here and I'll blow that off. I'm going to tape off the rubber seal on the back here. There's a seal on the back here. I'll tape that off. I'm not going to prime on this video. Okay, I got to get the mask ready and that sort of stuff. But what I am going to do is I'm going to sand the mounts off. We'll show you that. I'm going to tape that off. We'll basically leave it where it is. I'll prime it right out to here. I'm not going to prime this stuff inside here. This stuff gets rusty in there full time anyways. It does. We'll get everything primed. Get it looking, you know, put a couple coats of primer on it, 2 or 3 coats of primer on it. We'll flip over the transmission mount. This is the transmission mount. We X-braced it to try to keep that chassis as tight as possible. When you X-brace something, it really keeps it tight. We'll flip that over. We'll get the other side of that. I'm going to do some mounts right now. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Just leave that right there because I'll clean the mess up when I'm ready. Brakes are sitting there. I'll go over the brakes and see what I need, what I don't need. We'll probably put all new on. The drums will be the same. We might even just take them out and sandblast them, see what the thickness is. We'll see what they are. If we do not have to buy new, we will not. Got the motor mounts here. One of them is going to grab a seat, and I'll show you how we do that. Grab I like the 80 grit DAs when I'm sanding off a little bit of filler. I just like to do it with the 80 grit, just because if it's a little bit of filler, that means I won't dig it all off with the 40 grit. You know, if I get digging it all off with the 40 grit, well, I'm defeating the purpose. So I'm going to dig it off with the 80 grit and have it ready for primer. And each piece will be ready that way. That chassis is absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Just like you, Jolene. Absolutely gorgeous. She woke up like a 10, boys. This morning, woke up like a 10. Smiling at me. You know something? When someone wakes up in the morning, Jolene woke up this morning, and she had a big smile on her face. We made coffee. We did get Bailey's in our coffee again. We had 2 coffees, didn't we, baby? Yeah. Huh? We had 2 coffees before we took off. But you get someone that wakes up in the morning, that smiles at you, asks you if you want a coffee. It really does set the mood for the day. It does, sets the mood for the day. I was so happy when I woke up, you know. It was nice. Thank you very much, Jolene. It was nice. Very nice. It's awesome. So this is the mount that I made. I made it for the car, and I made it for the engine, obviously. But what happened is I couldn't get the steering to go to where I wanted to go, and the mount was directly in the way. And that's the method I come up with. I took a piece of exhaust pipe, I cut some holes in it, and I put a piece of exhaust pipe through it and then welded it up, and that's where the steering arm goes through. Hard to believe, I know, but that's what I had to do, and that's what I did. And that's what you do with every car. Do what you got to do. Just like the radiator. As the radiator sits there, the rack and pinion was in the way then, I had to modify. And there's nothing, I'm not adding strength to anything. I am putting auto body filler on to make the mount look the best as possible. So when we apply the primer, we really can put a sheen on it like the chassis. It's hard, you know, as I've welded these up, I made these mounts, made them from nothing, from a piece of 1/8 plate, weld them all together. There's grinder marks, there's welding marks, there's whatever. Like, so what I'm doing is I'm just making them smooth, so when it comes time to paint them, that they look like something. They're not, I can't see all the marks in them. So a little bit of filler, a little bit of primer. We call that makeup. Put a little bit of makeup on these. You can't hold against a pretty girl, she wears makeup, can you? Jolene's pretty, she wears a little bit of makeup. I don't hold it against you at all, baby. I think you're absolutely gorgeous, stunning. My baby's stunning. Now, if you can remember these mounts, I mean, they're in every video, they had a little weld mark go across there. I took a flapper wheel, knocked it down just a little bit, but I just put a little bit of filler on that. When we prime these and paint these, they will look absolutely like Jolene, stunning, because I put a little bit of makeup on them, And so that is not visible, to make it look just a little bit better. That's all it's for. It's not for strength. It's not for anything. It's other than to make it look the best it can look. And that's exactly what we did to the chassis. And when you see that sort of stuff, recognize it. It's called work. It's called work. I'm digging at it. The only reason I'm digging at it because it does not have to be straight. I'm just smoothing off weld marks, grinder marks, anything that can make it look better. So I'm counting on a little bit of fill to make it look a little bit better, and then I'm going to count on the primer to finish it. Also, I cannot expect to get it done and do it nice and have a nice job done if I do not put the product on. So as I put the product on, I generally put on more than I need, obviously, so I can get the job done that I want. And basically what I want is this mount to come out nice and smooth, so when we prime it and paint it, it looks like something that's factory, something that's punched out, but yet really we made it. So like when it comes time, when the chassis is done and someone takes a look at it, say, wow, that chassis is nice. And, where'd that come from? Well, I made it, I can actually say I made it. And because I did. Because I did. That's what it's all about. Just taking my time. And doing it for a special lady. And then when I'm done this one, we'll do another one, won't we, baby? We'll do another one. I had to weld that in there, and obviously to get that ground out and knocked off and get the weld all looking good, I had to grind it, and I had to make marks in it and all that sort of stuff. And this filler right here is just trying to help it out so it just looks just a little bit better. When I tell someone I made the mounts, well, when they look at them, wow, you did a good job. Well, I took the time and did what was necessary to make them look that way. They're not any better than anybody else's mounts that they're making. It's just that I took the time, I sandblasted them, I've ground them off, and I've filled them, and then primed them, and then sanded them. And that calls for time, and I put in the effort. So anybody can make a great mount. It's whether you want to finish it or not. And this is how you finish it. This is how I finish it. You can finish it any way you want to. Everything I do it the way I want to do it. That makes me the happiest. And that's the way to happiness. Do it the way you want to do it. That's the way to happiness. Make yourself happy. And that's the only way you can make someone else happy, if you're happy. See, I would never woke up happy this morning if Jolene didn't smile at me and she was happy. See, you know what I mean? It's not, I probably would have woke up happy. Yes, I would have, but it wouldn't have been like, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. I might not have got 2 cups of coffee. I would have got maybe just 1. But I said I'll go for 2. And I'll take Bailey's in each. This piece of paper anyways. Just trying to feather it all off. So that's one of the main things when you're doing something like this. Just got to make sure it's feathered off so you can't tell. I know it's up in that hole, but it does mean something to me that it's feathered off. You can feel it or see it. If it's not feathered off, you'll see it. You'll see it. Knock all the edges off. Where it's welded on the edge here like that, I did not fill that out. There's a little, you can see how that dust is sticking in there. You see how that dust is sticking in there? There's a ledge going on there. Sorry I said it was a crack, but there's a ledge going on there. After I prime them, seam sealer, ledge will be gone. It'll look twice as nice. Not the antique store, but the mound. Twice as nice. So, now that'll look fantastic when that's sitting on that chassis, because it's been filled out and there's no weld marks. There'll be no weld marks on it. I'll put a little seam sealer on the edge like I told you. I'm not going to fill that part, but that'll look really nice when it goes on the chassis. And that's basically all I'm going for. A little bit of makeup, time, and labor. And I have to do that with the bottom mount because I have that welded up, that perforated metal. I have that welded up, and I don't really want to see the weld mark all the way around there. Don't want to see it. I want it to look like nice as possible. I want it to look like it was a factory-made thing for a Bugatti. Jolene's Bugatti, that is. So there's just a little bit more sand right there just to make sure. Just like that. Let's do the other one. Cosmetic, that's all it is cosmetic. Just a little bit of makeup. And there's that, prime them, and they'll be extra special. Knock that off. That had a big weld mark. I weld them on the inside too, and I'll probably even throw a little seam sealer in there. They're not the prettiest looking thing on the inside, but they're up underneath. And but I wanted to make the outside look nice. This is an 80 grit. The reason being, I don't want to knock it all off too quick. If I use the 40, it might knock it off too quick. the weld poking through there, so that's okay. Just a little tiny bit of it. Don't care if it's straight, just making it smooth. It's got nothing to do with being straight. Making it smooth. Don't want to leave any sandpaper here. Take off the edges. Don't want no sharp edges on it. Any little chunks hanging off it. We don't want that. Round them up. Hit them up, round them up, hit them out. Is that Rawhide or something like that? A show I used to watch when I was younger. Rifleman, I used to watch that too. I like westerns. Now, we'll be very happy with this mount. No one will ever see it. No doubt, like, you know, you won't never notice it or whatever, I guess. But as we're putting it together, we'll just know that we're doing a half decent job, you know, trying to make it look the best it can. So that's basically the mount. It's just got enough on there to cover stuff up. Covered up the weld right here, right along there. Covered that weld up nicely. Covered the weld of the scratches on top of here. Basically, that's about it. We got this one done over here. So that'll look just as nice to the chassis. We'll, like I said, any little, so you can see where the dust is sticking in there. When I keep saying that, but it really does. It makes a difference. And there you go. That's what we're doing. I'm going to put this in there. This will be ready to be primed. These can go in there. These can be ready to be primed. We're going to have some more stuff to be sandblasted, obviously. And what I'll do is I'll just keep piling stuff in here and keep doing stuff till I get some red enough to throw some primer around. We might even do edge at Jolene's doors maybe a little later on. There's some pinholes along there. And not the front sides, but the back sides have to be primed yet. And it's probably a good idea to get that stuff ready so we can get it primed. I've got, like I said before, we've got the control arms over there. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to take the DA and run around them, smooth the filler off, and then we'll throw them in and we'll put some primer on them. And basically that gives us a foundation to have something done. And also, just like the body fill, I throw on, watch yourself, more than I need, because when it comes time to sand it off and there's an imperfection that you want to get, you need the product to take it off. So basically that's what's going on. We're going to give away a hat or a shirt. We're going to give away a hat or a shirt. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And, you know, what can I say? Be happy for what you have. And basically that's about it. That's about it. Be happy for what you have. If you have your health, that should be good enough, you know. To be honest with you, you should be happy if you have your health. We have a picture here Jolene put on the internet, and it's amazing. What's his name?
Ken Henley.
Ken Henley drew this picture and sent it to us, and we want to thank Ken because I'm telling you, he got me bang on. He got Jolene bang on too. Man, it's crazy. Well done. You know, there's so many people that are so talented. And Ken Henley, well done.
He even has your knee pads.
Yeah, I've got my knee pads on. Look at that, will you? My sneakers, rolled up pants. Awesome. Yeah. Ken Henley, thanks very much. That's quite a Christmas present in itself right there. Thank you very much. See what we got here. See who threw out a comment to get a hat or a shirt. And we're happy to give it to you. You've taken your time to throw out a comment. We're going to take our time to pay back. 392 Hemi. I think we've got one actually somewhere. No, maybe it's a 354. Paul Bryan. He got a thumbs up, a heart, and a clapping emoji. I think it's an emoji, isn't it? It's called emoji, is it?
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, thank you very much. You took your time you put a thumbs up and a heart and a clapping hand. And basically what I wanted to do is give you a hat or shirt of your choice, Paul Bryan. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We'll see you tomorrow. We're probably going to do a gift or package opening tomorrow because a lot of packages have been sent in. There's one thing that was left at the dooryard or outside the door of the house was a great big Elvis picture. And every time I come up here, I try to remember to say thank you. But that picture of Elvis is in the house, and I thank you very much. It's sitting right beside Jolene's Bugatti Dash and the window trim, and I want to thank you very much for the thought. I'll thank you tomorrow again, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Have a Merry Christmas, and remember, if you're healthy, be happy. And if you wake up tomorrow morning with a smile on, it's contagious. It really is. See you tomorrow.